wanna talk? So let's talk. Yeah. Talk. You wanna talk? You gotta talk, you need to talk. News talk.
I talk, you talk to Solomon. I talk, you talk to Solomon. Yeah, let's talk to Solomon. Talk to Solomon.
You gotta talk, you
Good evening, my friends, and welcome. It's Talk to Solomon time. That's me, Stan Solomon. I'm the host.
I'm Chief Steve Davis, in-studio co-host.
Chief Steve is a former police chief and many, many years in law enforcement, a father, grandfather, run for political office, and is a great co-host with us. Our guest this half hour is Dr. Nanci Coppola. She's the CEO of Program Reach and the Healthy Respect Program. Doctor, how are you?
I'm doing well this evening. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Now, as I understand it, in a word, you believe abstinence is something that should be taught, something that should be focused on, and something that should be followed. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Our message to youth is always one that's a optimal public health strategy. We attempt to teach children to avoid all risk, and that has to do with alcohol, tobacco, drugs, violence, and sexual activity, because we know these behaviors are all tied together, and risk avoidance, which abstinence is a far better message for youth than most of the other messages that they're getting, which are simply to reduce the risks.
Now, Doctor, you're a lovely lady. I'm an old guy. I have children and grandchildren and have been very blessed. But I can tell you from my experiences that the way the world is viewed by boys and the way the world is viewed by girls is dramatically different. And I don't hear people addressing that what may or may not be acceptable, effective, reliable with boys, it's a whole different story with girls. Am I close?
Well, I think the thing is that the media portrays genders differently. But if we look at the statistics, and these are statistics that come out of the Center for Disease Control, their data shows that nearly 75% of all youth, male and female, between the ages of 15 and 17, have never had sex. So what's happening is the media is giving a message that everyone is having sex. The assumption by many educators is that teens are going to have sex anyway, so we're better off teaching them how to do it safely, quote unquote, rather than establishing policy that reinforces the healthy decisions that are being made by an increasingly larger number of teens.
Again, I couldn't agree with you more. I know of my children, and I had a number, and my grandchildren, and I have a still larger number, that when you have discussions, they won't necessarily tell the truth to adults, and certainly other than their parents, and not even necessarily to their parents. But what we're doing on television and in media and in movies and the like is we're taking away the negative connotation for girls that are permissive. Could you address that?
Well, I think we're taking away the negative connotations not only for girls, but for boys as well. And if we look, there are a whole host of studies that show that the media has been gradually over time increasing the number of topics and shows that deal with teen sexuality. And as they do that, both by showing conversations revolving around teen sex, implying that sex is occurring in situational shows, and also outright showing of the sexual act in certain TV and movie episodes. But what happens is, as the number of events revolving around sex increases in the TV shows, the number of negative consequences for those events, primarily for the girls, but also for the boys, has been decreasing over time. So there is this sense, this false sense by the viewer that engaging in these activities have little if no consequences. And they're not dealing with the emotional consequences, they're not dealing with the physical consequences, they're not dealing with the long-term financial consequences that occur on any level. And I think that's a great disservice to our children.
Oh, no ifs, ands, or buts. Chief?
Well, first of all, I admire what you're doing. It takes a lot of courage, I think, to stand up against political correctness these days. But what I see is also where society on a large scale is trying to replace talent and dedication and hard work with popularity. And so what they're not, like you said, they're not showing the consequences that go along with not being able to produce on your own or have some type of a talent. And I also see that if we look at history, morality plays a big part in successful civilization. So if we don't promote morality with our freedom, we're going to lose everything. It's just all going to go away. So I just want to really, again, emphasize that I think you're doing a really good thing, and there are dangers out there. And Stan, you said about difference about boys and girls. They are different, but sex is one issue, but the other issues that were mentioned with the alcohol and smoking and drugs and all that's an equal problem for both boys and girls. I want to add one more thing too. In my law enforcement career, I was exposed to some training where a former lie detector administrator for the Mossad in Israel, he figured out a technique to detect deception in people. But one thing else that they discovered in all of the studies was that people all over the world don't lie. They don't want to lie. They have a hard time lying. And so if we have rules to tell our kids not to do something, oftentimes kids and other people, they won't commit those acts because they don't want to have to be forced to lie about it later. So the fact that they want to tell the truth and don't want to have to lie is a big part of behavior. And so if we have rules that tell our kids don't do those bad things, a lot of times they won't do it just so they won't be forced to lie later about that event.
Well said. Doctor?
Well, I think that you're making a number of valid points, but there's one thing that I would like to address, and that is that in addition to this concept of are we telling the truth or not, I think we have to get to the heart of whether or not we're helping children to develop the self-esteem that they need and the sense of self-respect and self-worth to make the healthy choices. And I think that's why a sexual risk avoidance or abstinence message will trump a sexual risk reduction message, because we are telling children that we believe that they are worth making the healthiest choice. And if we look at this from a public health model, in every other area, we teach children to totally avoid risks. We do not do DARE programs for drug use where we teach kids to snort cocaine rather than shooting it up, because that would be safer in terms of disease prevention. People would think we were absolute lunatics. But when it comes to smoking, we tell kids don't smoke. We don't tell them smoke filtered cigarettes. So every other message in public health is a primary prevention message. Totally avoid the risk. But when it comes to sex, we're willing to compromise the health of our children and say, use a condom, have safer sex, and we're not telling them the truth, because the risks for sexually transmitted infections still exist to a very, very large extent, even with the use of a condom. Condom is very effective in reducing the risk of AIDS. It will work about 80% of the time to reduce the spread of HIV if it's used 100% of the time and 100% effectively, which we know rarely happens in the teen population. But when it comes to other STIs and STDs, condoms can provide little to no protection. And that's why we have to worry about our boys just as much as we have to worry about our girls. And when it comes to teen pregnancy, the issue is just as problematic for teen boys. They're certainly not the ones getting pregnant, but in any court, they can be mandated to leave school, go get a job, and support the baby. And boys aren't being told that, and they need to know what their responsibilities are when they engage in these activities.
Now, you know, I just had a radar go up. To me, the connotation here is that somehow the child that is created by sex can bring problems? The answer is yes, but it's not the child's fault. The whole philosophy that somehow if you don't want to have a problem, get rid of the baby. If you don't want to have to be forced to get a job, get rid of the baby. I mean, I'm a pro-life guy, and I think we should teach every child that there's no difference between them and that baby. Every child in the womb, outside the womb, created next to them, their brother or sister, or created by them, their son or daughter, is every bit as important as they are. I mean, is that part of your program?
You know, absolutely. One of the things that we teach in our Healthy Respect curriculum is we focus a great deal, especially with the older children, on the adoption option, because we think it's important for children to realize this. But one of the things, Stan, that I have always said about our work and the work of any program that teaches sexual risk avoidance or abstinence is that our goal is to ensure that we reduce the number of abortions. But if we pay careful attention to where the propensity of abortions occur, they occur in the younger population. If we eliminate teen sexual activity and we eliminate teen pregnancy, we dramatically reduce the number of abortions that occur.
All right. Well, again, I agree with that. All right. Brent Johnson has joined us. He's another one of our co-hosts. Brent, have you heard enough of the conversation to have a comment here?
Due to technical problems, I was off for a while and everything, and so I didn't catch the very beginning of this. But if I'm gathering what the conversation is about, and I do think that in the end it's a question of responsibility. If you teach responsibility and you teach value of life, those two things, then everything else kind of takes care of itself. The idea that, first off, the most important is we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, among them life. Life is the first one that is mentioned. And today, in American society, we really don't value life. You know, children are out there playing these video games in which you score based upon how many people you kill. And our military has devised things that look like video games in order to train soldiers to really kill. And so we really have gotten away from the value of life as a gift from God. Because of that, people become more susceptible to irresponsibility when it comes to reproduction. And so if we could first reintroduce into our society that all life has value, has very serious value. It's even more than liberty. Life came first. And so if we could reintroduce that principle and then teach responsibility, then I think you're going to have a whole new generation that doesn't just jump at the idea of, well, the easy thing, take a pill or get a D&C or whatever. You know, you'll find the abortions and the number of abortions going down dramatically just because people won't do it. Conversely, if we do not teach that life has value, if we do not teach personal responsibility, then nothing will change. And it doesn't matter what programs are instituted or what tax breaks are made or any of that stuff or what radio shows, you know, promote these concepts. It makes no difference if we don't actually go out there and teach the value of life and the necessity of personal responsibility.
Doctor, first of all, I have a great deal of admiration and a great deal of what is the word I'm searching for here? I'm appreciative that you would do what you would do, because no matter what your thought process, and I think yours is a wonderful one, the result will be, as you say, that children who abstain, abortion is irrelevant. It never comes up. It's not a topic to be concerned about. So it is certainly the right direction. Now, building on that, in New York City, they're saying 1 in 5 of the city's preteens have mental woes. A lot of these have to do with lack of esteem, lack of respect for themselves or for others, lack of ability to have pride, to feel that you have value, which often means that they then find acceptance in promiscuity, or acceptance in showing that they can do stuff on the boy side more. So if you're just dealing with the kids, it's one thing, but you're dealing with a lot of adults, and pardon me for being somewhat cynical, who absolutely believe, even though 75% of the kids don't, that 98% of the kids do, and B, they want to do it with the kids and they want cover. Now, I've said it, there it is, talk about it.
So a couple of things. First, I'd like to go back and look at one point that was just raised about video games and things of that nature. And one of the important things that we do in our Healthy Respect program is to teach children from a young age how to unpack what the media is trying to sell them, so that they really get a sense of how the media manipulates them and manipulates their thought process. Because if they are better consumers of the media, then they are less impacted by what the media has to say. And then it becomes easier to teach them responsibility, to have them develop their own sense of self-respect and self-worth. And interesting, Stan, that you say that many adults, and I think that there is a portion of society where the adults do not necessarily have the best interests of children at heart. But if we look, recently, Parents Speak Out, a survey was conducted by the National Abstinence Education Association. And what it showed was that regardless of party or race, regardless of socioeconomic background, parents of teens overwhelmingly supported sexual risk avoidance programs for their children, and they do not support the current sex education policy. So if we can capitalize on getting parents to help their children and instill these values in their children, we're in a much better place. And in fact, our Healthy Respect program and many other sexual risk avoidance programs have a parental component. We are also currently, our organization is doing a replication of a study that was done out of the University of Pennsylvania, which very successfully showed that abstinence programs were superior to comprehensive sex education programs or condom-based programs or general health programs in getting children to abstain from sexual activity. And that program as well has a parental component, trying to ensure that we engage children and their parents in these conversations, because we know when parents and their children speak about these issues, kids are far less likely to get involved in these negative behaviors. And it goes back to what the chief was saying earlier, that kids don't want to have to lie. Kids don't want to have to do what their parents have asked them not to do. So when parents have these conversations with their children are in a far better place.
All right, let's talk about the impact, the influence. I mean, I read a story yesterday about a police officer that was arrested for child pornography. There have been documented over 10,000 cases of teachers having intimate relationships with their students that are underage. We know of the thing that happened with certain priests. We know of things that happened with certain rabbis. We know of things that have happened with certain politicians. The reality is we have lost the, I don't know what the word is, the will, or lost the recognition of certain rights and wrongs. I don't know how else to say it. That somehow we have people rationalizing that it is okay for an adult to have intimate relationships with a child. I don't mean an 18-year-old 2 days before their birthday. I'm talking about 13-year-olds and 12-year-olds. It's just, to me, the penalty should be death. It's a little extreme, so I'll wash my hands first. But, mess with my kids or grandkids, there will be no trial for you. There'll be one for me. There'll be none for you.
Well, I think, it sounds like what you're searching for is to find again and give us back a moral compass. And I think that that's what's lacking sometimes. But
well, does your group talk about that? Yes, you say the kids don't, but you also say the kids beware. You say the kids, this is right, this is wrong. Is that part of your program?
Absolutely, and especially in the programs with the younger children. Our Healthy Respect program covers kids from 4th grade through till about 11th grade. And so with the youngest children in our programs, our 4th, 5th, and 6th grade curricula really focus on building that sense of self-esteem and self-respect and helping parents to teach children values. One thing that all of the programs that Program Reach has ever delivered is that we understand that it is important to involve parents. We cannot usurp parental authority. Parents should be the primary educators of their children when it comes to sexual activity. And parents should be the one instilling morals in their children. My children are adults now, and certainly when they went to school, I did not want anyone to tell me what morals or values to instill in our children. But I expected that society would help to mirror the values that we were trying to instill in them, and it didn't always. So then there needed to be conversations about why we don't necessarily agree with what the popular opinion is. And I think that's what parents need to do, because very often what happens is that parents assume their children know where they stand on certain issues. And absent a parent actually having that conversation with their child, or a guardian having that conversation, or a grandparent if it's the grandparent raising the child, someone needs to have that conversation. So some of the things that we do with many of our children who do not live in a two-parent family is to teach those children how to seek out a trusted adult that they can turn to help them find the guidance to make those healthy decisions for themselves.
Doctor, we are just about out of time. Can you give us a website, a contact number, anything?
Absolutely. I'm going to give you two websites. I'll give you our website. It's www.healthrespect.org. And then the other place that I'd like to send people is to www.thenaea.org, and that's the National Abstinence Education Association website.
All right, say that last one again one more time.
www.thenaea.org and www.healthrespect.org.
Thank you so much. God bless you for what you're doing. And remember, if all else fails, call me, because I'm the enforcer.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye now.
We'll be back with Dr. Alan Key shortly, folks. Stay tuned. I like to eat. Do you like to eat? We all do. And usually we run to the grocery store, we run to the convenience store, or we have something in the fridge. But power's been out in parts of this country in the last few weeks. We don't know what's going to come down the pike economically. Smart people are putting in food. Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves is a line of foods that you can put away that will last for a very long time. You know, they say eat what you store and store what you eat. This is great tasting stuff, healthy for you, a full line. You go to our website, cpnlive.com, and click on the button for Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves and see all the different things we have. This is good tasting food. It's reasonably priced. It will last. And it's worth its weight in gold if a problem arises. I know you don't think there's going to be anything that goes wrong. Actually, you do. This is smart. This is smart insurance. This is smart preparation. This is smart thinking. You have kids, you have a spouse, you have parents, you have dependents, you have an appetite. All those things can be addressed by a frugal but smart investment in Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves. Try them out. You will be tickled to death with the taste of them. You know what? In many cases, people start to eat this and they think, heck, this tastes better and costs less than what you're going to the grocery store to buy. cpnlive.com, check it out. Hey, my name is Stan Solomon, and you know if I have something to say, I'll say it. And I'll only tell you the truth because I'm a Republican, not a Democrat. Democrats always lie. Republicans only lie half the time. I don't lie at all. This is the Fuel Mule. It's an extraordinary product that was developed by a friend of mine, an engineer, and it increases the fuel mileage on your vehicle. If you have a combustion engine, this will increase your mileage by 10 to 20%. It bolts around your fuel line. You can install it yourself or have your mechanic do it. It is an extraordinary item, and it flat works. I've been using it for more than 10 years. It's increased my mileage on every vehicle I put it on, and by the way, it will last forever. You can get rid of your vehicle, just take it off and put on the next one. Go to cpnlive.com. You'll have more information there. You can order it right there. We absolutely guarantee you'll be satisfied. The Fuel Mule. It's a way to kick down your cost of fuel and kick up your mileage. Don't you love the name? I thought of it. The Fuel Mule. Let me ask you a question. Do you like being sick? I have in my hand an incredible product. It's called TR10 supercolloidal silver. TR10 stands for a trace to the negative 10th power. The particles in this silver product are 6 to 8 angstroms, 6 to 8 10 billionths of a meter. Now listen to me. Silver has been the magic bullet for all of human existence. The Egyptians used silver instruments. We use silverware. They put silver in your teeth because nothing can grow on silver. Silver will kill anything but liberalism. I'm working on that. This product, you go to cpnlive.com, buy 1 quart of this product. It will last you for a very long time. Anytime you feel like you've been exposed to something bad, take some of this product, spray it in your mouth, or take a little bit and gargle it, swallow it. It will kill any pathogen. The average antibiotic kills 10 to 20 different pathogens. This product will kill 700 plus. Do yourself a favor, do your family a favor, do your doctor a favor. He's tired of seeing you. Get supercolloidal silver. Go to cpnlive.com, order the product. It's $29.95 plus shipping. I think it's $39.95 delivered any place in America right to your door. It's worth 10 times that. Check it out. If you're not 100% happy, just return it and we'll give you your money back. Do you like being healthy? I do. In fact, this product, which I've been taking for years now, is absolutely the answer. Now, you may not believe it, but I'm actually 21, plus tax, of course. This product has 146 different healthful nutrients in it, and it's liquid, so it's bioavailable. It tastes great, and it's sugar-free. 1 ounce of Sonic Life each day will help you to maintain and enhance your health. It's the kind of a gift, well, that you'll thank your mom for, your husband for, your wife for, your kids for. Whoever you give it to, they're going to say thank you, and you are going to enjoy the benefits of having all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the nutrients your body needs in one very reasonably priced product. Just go to cpnlive.com and everything's right there. You'll be able to read all the ingredients. The price is right there, a flat price delivered to your door anywhere in the United States of America. Sonic Life is a gift, a great gift. Give it to yourself. I do.